So one of my favorite games ever is this game Crypt of the Necrodancer, which, if you're not familiar, is a sort of dungeon crawling roguelite game that is sort of simultaneously a turn-based game and a real-time game at the same time. It's this really unique style where you have time to stop and think and strategize, but there's also this time pressure. And the way that they achieve that in Necrodancer, the way they achieve this like turn-based game with time pressure thing, is through rhythm game mechanics. So every input you do in Necrodancer is basically required that you input it to the beat of the song playing in the background. There's even like a visual indicator at the bottom of the screen to help you with the timing. It even kind of punishes you if you fall out of line with that rhythm, although the timing window is like really, really generous compared to like a traditional rhythm game. But anyways, I've played hundreds of hours of Necrodancer, it's one of my favorites, but I haven't played it in probably almost like a year or two. But then this month, this game came out called Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon on, I think, Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Weirdly not mobile, not iOS and Android. You'd think for a game called Pocket, doesn't it sound like the name of a mobile game? I have a theory about that, actually, but I'll save it for another time. Anyways, this game came out, and I don't know if it was the like really propulsive, excellent soundtrack by Jake Kaufman, or the visual style, or just the fact that it was like a roguelite puzzle action game about bumping into enemies, but the minute I started playing it, from the jump, without even realizing I was doing it, I caught myself playing it exactly like Necrodancer. Nothing in the tutorial or in the game explicitly said play this game to the beat, but I've played like probably 4 or 5 hours of it, and I can't make myself not play it like Necrodancer. There's no punishment for not playing it to the beat of the music, per se, but I'm finding myself doing it anyway just because, and this is a really hard thing to articulate, so bear with me, but anybody who's played a lot of Necrodancer, your brain, when you've played a lot of that game, gets kind of good at making these micro decisions where you're like making a choice 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 beats in advance and deploying them to the beat. Like there's something about the way your brain processes it. Like you get into these sort of like mental clock cycles of like digesting what's on the screen and executing it in 4/4 time. And I'm absolutely doing that with this game, even though I don't have to. And I think looking at the game mechanically, they definitely took some inspiration from Necrodancer, but I'm fascinated by this. I've never had this happen to me before, where I'm playing a game, I guess quote-unquote wrong, but it's working fine, and I'm getting really far. I'm probably dying sometimes because I'm doing inputs when I don't have to, but for the most part it seems like it's working. And in fact, it's actually, I think it's making me better at the game. Like there's no punishment for not playing to the rhythm. The game never says play to the beat. But there is this like gem combo meter at the bottom of the screen that encourages you to do inputs quickly, because it gives you a multiplier on your currency, which gets you better items, which lets you get further in your runs. There's an NPC in the game even who's like, I always try to play quickly, but it makes me lose. And I feel like, even though the game is not checking to see if you're doing your inputs to the beat, I can't stop doing it, and I sincerely think that it gives me a leg up. And actually the one exception I've found, I actually don't play the game to the beat when I mute it, because there's no reason to. So if I'm like listening to a podcast or something and I don't need the music, I'll turn the sound off and then I can play a little more freeform. In fact, I'll just show you. Here is what it looks like when I'm playing with the sound on. And here's what it looks like when I'm playing with the sound off. Both of them totally valid, totally functional ways to play this game, but for the most part, I'm playing it this first way. I'm playing it like Necrodancer. One interesting, possibly kind of confounding wrinkle in this is that Jake Kaufman actually also did one of the soundtracks for Necrodancer under his other artist named Vert. So maybe that's one of the things that's leading to this really powerful sense that I should be playing it to the beat, who knows, but I sincerely think that people who've played Necrodancer have kind of a huge leg up in this game, and also probably have an entirely different playstyle. I haven't looked at anyone else playing this game, but I would imagine like, oh god, I'm so excited to like watch trailers and see if they're playing to the rhythm, or watch Twitch streamers and see if they're playing to the rhythm. But I would imagine there are people who the music is just background music to them, and they're playing the game as normally as they can. Again, haven't seen a second of anyone else playing this. I don't know if this is just me. I don't know if it's what the devs intended. I suspect that the developers built the game intentionally so you could play it like Necrodancer, but it's this fascinating conundrum where, like, because I'm bringing a prior game's experience to the table, I'm playing this game in a completely different way. You know what I mean? It's a really odd, really interesting feeling, and I'm dying to know if there are other people out there who are doing this. But I guess the weirdest part to me is that it works. Like, it's a valid way to play it. It literally makes you better at the game because you're doing your inputs so quickly that you're keeping your meter high and you're earning more currency. But I don't think I've ever played a game before where having this foreknowledge of a totally separate game like drastically alters your playstyle and how you interact with it. So I can't stop thinking about this. If any of you are in the Venn diagram of people who have played both Necrodancer and then Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, please let me know if this is happening to you also. But yeah, it just raises a lot of interesting questions about, like, is this meant to be played as a rhythm game? Is this a rhythm game? For me personally, assuming that we're working from the baseline that Necrodancer is a rhythm game, which I don't think even that is a consensus necessarily. I'm sure there are people out there who are like definitely not. I guess this is the first game that is rhythm optional. Actually, I think there was even a mode in Necrodancer where you could turn off the beat detection and the inputs would just happen as quickly or as slowly as you put them in. This is a little different because if you don't put in an input in this, the game will proceed at its own pace. But interestingly, it doesn't seem like that pace is exactly the pace of the background music. Much to think about. But I also want to hear from you guys. If you're playing this game, are you playing it like a rhythm game? Yes or no? Please let me know in the comments. I'm dying to talk about this game with somebody. I've been loving this game a lot. I can't stop thinking about it. I can't believe I haven't actually talked about the gameplay much in this video, but it's this really great action puzzle roguelite thing. It's just like right in the wheelhouse of all the shit I love combined in one game. It kind of feels like if Necrodancer was made by Capybara Games. Like, it's got a little bit of that Critter Crunch action, but I think it's drastically better, frankly. It's really dope, and it's right up my alley. I definitely recommend trying it. I think it's like 20 bucks on every platform. Anyways, this game is fantastic, and to that point, I'm actually going to be streaming this game right now, like right after this video goes live on my channel, on twitch.tv/Babylonian. So there's a link in the description. If you're watching this video on the day it came out, click that link, see if I'm still live. I may be, I may not be, or maybe I'm just live. I go live all the time, you know? You could luck out. You could hit the streaming jackpot. Either way, though, click that link, follow me on Twitch, and have notifications on so we can hang out in the chat. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of get this thought out of my system, hear from you guys about it, and also experiment with, like, what if I did sort of an off-the-cuff video about something I've been thinking? Because I could do this all day. I could do this for a bunch of games. But I'm just, yeah, little format experiment. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you on Twitch in about 5 seconds.